Vegas. I agree.
I suppose it's in the bag.
Prepare for battle!
Interesting. I understand. What a test this shall be. With pleasure. Excellent idea. Very good. Interesting. Absolutely. Such fascinating images. What's over there? And down. Prepare to be tested. Ah. Indeed. Absolutely.
Dyer's courier is dead!
Yes. Indeed. Indeed. Missing bottom. This will be fun. Bird's eye view. I'm under attack. Very good. Absolutely. I see. Such fascinating images.
Ooh, first blood!
First, I understand. What's over there?
Dyer's courier has been killed!
Interesting. With pleasure. Begin. What's over there? Yes. Curious. I agree. Absolutely. Interesting. Yes. Attack.
A tithe to the impurities.
Attack. As it pleases me. Excellent idea. That should help. Excellent idea.
Dyer's courier has been killed!
As it pleases me. Utterly pathetic. Such fascinating.
Kill the courier! Your courier is dead!
What's over there? I understand. I'm under attack.
Dire's courier is dead!
Curious. With pleasure. Absolutely.
They killed your courier!
With pleasure. Yes. What's over there? I agree.
Your bottom tower is under attack!
I see. Missing bottom. Let's go.
Dire structures are fortified. Their tower's doing that woo thing. Fortified!
Very good. Yes. Curious. Indeed. Yes. Indeed. As it pleases me. With pleasure. What's over there? Interesting. With pleasure. I understand. Excellent idea. Yes. Absolutely.
They killed your courier!
I see. I'm under attack. Very good. What's over there? I agree. Absolutely. Interesting. Such fascinating energies. Absolutely. Very good.
Whoa, killing spree! Oh!
Haste.
Ownage!
You merge with the impurity.
Fascinating energy. Excellent idea. Yes.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
Indeed.
A tithe to the impurity.
That should help. Indeed. Curious. I understand. What's over there? sorcerer stings. Interesting. I see. What's over there?
Dire's courier has been killed.
Pleasure. Interesting.
Dire's
Oh boy,
courier.
killing
He's
spree.
dead.
Oh, ownage.
As it pleases me. Absolutely. Such fascinating images. I'm looking forward to this. Behold. Huh. What's over there?
Who does that crap? That should be against the rules!
Indeed. Interesting. Regeneration. Curious.
Oh, jeez, he's dominating!
Pleases me.
Oh, ownage.
Test your metal. Bring it on. Excellent idea.
Hell yeah! Their top tower got boned.
I see.
Whoa, mega kill. He just mega killed.
Interesting. Yes. Absolutely. With pleasure.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Indeed.
Your bottom tower is under attack. Can we pause, please? I'm terrified beyond the capacity for rational thought.
Very good. What's over there? Begin. Yes. Absolutely. Let's go. I understand.
Those sods! We got their bottom tower. Rock on,
They
Tommy! They killed the courier! Your courier is dead!
Indeed. Yes. Absolutely. Suffer my sorcery. What's over there?
Your top tower is under
Forward
attack.
to this. I see. Magic missile. Yes. Interesting. Let's go. Very good. Face the Lucas. That nonsense. What's over there? I lost. Peace returns.
Your middle tower is under attack.
I understand. Excellent idea. Such fascinating images.
Killing spree, whoa!
Double kill. Oh man. Whoa! Initiating killing spree mode.
Oh my god! Four in a row! He's Triple now kill! dominating! He's dominating, Rick!
I'll not be discouraged.
Your top tower is under attack.
Pleasure.
Dire structures are fortified.
They like campaign to.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Attention gamers, previously on my break from playing one trash game to playing another trash game,
Chat,
I
don't
made a
spoil.
dwarf hunter without eyelids and applied to join Soda Poppin's guild,
Hey, it's
consisting
me.
of some of the internet's biggest streamers, some of the most famous pairs of paywall tits, and some other incompetent bumbling muppets.
You actually killed...
What?
But Howard's revenge aside, it was a big day for us as we had to attend our first streamer guild meeting. I was excited to be a part of such an elite group until the meeting consisted of 3 hours of mind-numbing yelling, mainly coming from some guy named Russell, so I had to outplay the mechanic and then try to sneak out. My plan is to be a team player in this guild, and I was about to prove this by avenging the deaths of my guildies.
Why?
Excellent idea.
The first death can best be summarized by this clip that I took
Oh
wildly
my
out of
god,
context.
shut up. I ran in there, pulled everything on purpose, said we're fine, and then we died. She died. Oh no, you're gonna die, you're gonna die.
The healer got the aggro, which turned into this.
No!
Dad was less than happy to hear the news.
I am. No. I haven't even seen the footage. I haven't even seen the death.
And what I took from the conversation is that this particular quest is too deadly to attempt on hardcore and should be skipped.
Dumb, extremely risky quest. Everyone's warning you about this quest, and you still do it. I tell you to calm down. You're going crazy.
So naturally, this was the next quest I wanted to do.
Yep.
But
See,
with the
and
plan
I
to
get
apply the
rap.
lessons from
I
Soul's
understand
Blade
rap.
like Brandon normally has to do.
I hate the pussy-ass
You don't know who
play.
it is. You don't know this mage. Do you understand the difference between a stupid and a good player?
Anyways, the quest clearly says this.
Take some of your most skilled comrades.
So I'm not sure why Emmy chose to bring this when she heard that, but I was going to bring someone else. We had a mission, and that was to teabag he who killed Emmy before parting ways until the next time.
Wasn't that me?
Ms. Kiff's death had me feeling less sad but rather more mad. Mad at myself for not betting the other guildies more gold that he would die within 24 hours of having to play on his own, and the lesson to be learned here is that these mechanical chickens are not to be fucked with, because for some ungodly reason there are large groups of yetis who advocate against their release. He had more than one opportunity to just piss off and live to fight another day, but with the ongoing recession I get that times are tough, and he was undoubtedly understaffed in the thinking department that night. So in a series of unfortunate events that can be summarized as, guy does really dumb shit, he joined Emmy in going back to Elwyn.
Someone help, please!
This admittedly was not
I
a
would
quest
defend
I should
herself.
have tried to avenge solo, but as Rav the Avatar, he's
No way he fucking does it by himself.
Their backs, and that he's better than Ms. Kiff at the game. I had to do it. But with that triumph under my belt, I was ready to take on some supposedly deadly quests. The first being in the Gaping Chasm, which coincidentally was also Russell's mom's nickname in college, but it was also a labyrinth of a cave with like 12 speakers that he left in there for some ungodly reason.
I agree. Absolutely. Such fascinating images. I
Excuse me, sir, but it's your top tower. It says it's being destroyed. Your top tower is under attack.
Absolutely. Yes.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
Curious.
Dire structures are fortified.
If it pleases me. It's over there. I understand. With pleasure. And shook out. I see. What's over there? Such fascinating images. Yes.
I don't steal spells, Rubik. I take lives.
Whoa, mega kill. Uh-oh. Haha, mega kill.
Wait, no, hold on! He's unstoppable!
Killing. Summer kill. Oh, man.
Bottom tower is under attack.
With pleasure. Begin. Excellent idea. Arcanery. Interesting. Indeed. Indeed. I agree. Very good. Curious.
So I've had a person who decided to impersonate me on Reddit, user Zach Rar. I, 39 male, am in an open relationship with my girlfriend, 27 female, but I feel uncomfortable whenever she brings back men to the house. Am I in the wrong? And so this whole thing, everybody was like going on and talking about how I was a cuck and like this is like, oh, it was all about me and like all this stuff. It's nuts, man.
Doesn't it hurt that she'd rather get fucked by a random with possible STDs than you? Why not ask to join? Relationship, you are giving her a safe place to fuck her bulls, and I bet she sees more action than you. Whose idea was the open relationship? Cuckolding is not for everyone.
You put a lot of thought. I thought this was funny. They thought it was actually me, and they caught me. Like, why would somebody do that? Just because it's funny. I was on stream, join the cuck squad of streamers. Oh no, I'm not into open relationships. I wouldn't want that. He says, yo, Asmongold, my girlfriend's a huge fan. No bullshit. You ever want to stick your dick in her and let it marinate? I would be totally cool with that, man. We think it'd be a good idea for you.
kill.
Death. Your permafrost is permanent after all.
We have 20.
Haste indeed. As it pleases me.
Yes. A tithe to the impurities.
Check. What's over there? Absolutely. I'm ready. With pleasure. Suffer my sorcery. Yes. I see. I agree. Curious. My just reward. Indeed. With pleasure. Very good.
Your middle tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified. No man has fallen to the radiant.
Immortality. Absolutely. Interesting. I almost feel bad. What's over there? Yes.
Dire structures are fortified.
Is it pleases me? I understand.
Hell yeah! That top tower got boned.
Absolutely. Curious.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? It's a killing spree over here. Whew. Well, looks like we got ourselves a triple kill here, Rick.
Or he could act
Whoa,
like a
he's got
detective.
a little ultra kill in here.
Males of Reddit, what is the craziest reaction you've had when you said, "No thanks, I don't want to do it"? Story 1. My ex-girlfriend showed up at my apartment at 2 a.m. completely buzzed, telling me she needed to sleep it off at my house. Being that I didn't want to see her end it all or someone else driving, I let her crash in my bed and I take a couch. As I'm trying to sleep, she wanders out to the living room completely bare, telling me she wants me to come to bed. I tell her that I will not sleep in bed with her and that whatever she had in mind would not be happening. Being that she was not a very rational woman while we were together and she was sober, it escalated to her screaming at me and how I'm going to regret denying her. At one point, she mentions that unless I come to bed with her, she's going to contact the police and tell them I took advantage of her. I take this time to grab my car keys and leave immediately with her screaming at me all the way down the stairs. I decided to sleep at my dad's and not return to the apartment. Luckily, she never tried anything, never contacted me again. Last I heard, she was living across the country. This guy got very lucky that she didn't try anything violent if they were the only ones in the apartment at the time. Another bullet dodged moment. Story 2. I've done this multiple times. Sometimes I'm just not feeling it at the time or with that person. Every time, though, girls are baffled. It's like you're challenging some sort of self-evident truth. They start looking at you as confused as if you said you truly believe the Earth is flat and the moon landing was faked. At first, they don't believe you, and they think there's something wrong with them, then they get angry at you, then they still don't believe you, and they do weird stuff. If they don't know you, or start ranting about all the terrible stuff you do and how great they are to you. If they know you. I've had girls, after being refused, try to be suggestive that just ended up really cringy. For example, one girl just took off her top with her back turned, looked back at me and goes, "Oops, you saw that?" Still a no. I've had a girl come over and try all sorts of things. I've had girls say things like, "What are you talking about? All guys want it." I've had girls ask me to watch them, which when you're not digging it, it feels as weird and gross as continuing to watch the rest of a video after you've already been satisfied. You end up thinking it's because they're not pretty enough or that I'm not into them. They can't grasp the idea that I'm just not in the mood. But I have a huge drive and a lot of my energy goes into work and bettering myself. Yet when I've refused it and told the girl the truth about it, I get endless smack for it because that's not how guys are. In my experience, not extrapolating this to every girl ever, a lot of girls have a double standard about girls and guys' feelings when it comes to doing the deed. If a girl doesn't want to do it with a guy and refuses, she's empowered. If a guy doesn't, there's something wrong with him. Just my experience and 2 cents. Story 3. I didn't outright refuse her. A girlfriend at the time had texted me that day asking me to come over. This was during a time when I was doing school 5 days a week and then working Friday to Sunday in the kitchen. Fridays were bad for me since I was at school from 8 until 3. Then I worked from 5 until 2 a.m. since I was closing Fridays at the time. Anyway, since it was Friday, I texted her back saying I will come over. I'm going to be exhausted and may just want to put on a movie and pass out. She said she was fine with this, she just wanted to see me. Fast forward to the night, I came over insanely tired and ended up passing out within like half an hour of being there. The next morning I was getting tattooed, so I went to head to my appointment. It's pouring rain out and the tattoo place was within walking distance from her house, so I just asked her for an umbrella or sweater, as I didn't bring one since I never went home that day. I got my tattoo done and on my way back to work, I get a text from her saying that she didn't appreciate me waking her up this morning and asking to borrow things. It's been raining all summer. Why don't I buy an umbrella and that she's my girlfriend, not my mother? If I was waking her up in the actual morning, I would understand. This was literally at 11 a.m. when I was asking her for this stuff. I was annoyed by this, and she had texted me that day to come over and knew I was going to be at school or work all day and wouldn't have time to go home and grab anything. Anyways, ignoring that comment, I asked her why she was so upset that I asked to borrow a sweater and umbrella when it was pouring rain out. The actual reason comes out that she was upset with me that we didn't do the deed last night. I replied saying that I told her I was exhausted and wasn't going to be up for much, but she said it was fine to come over anyways. I ended up coming over to her place after I was done with work that night. Everything was seemingly cool when I initially got there. However, within like 10 minutes of me being there, I asked if I could have a shower. After working in a kitchen for 8 hours, you kind of need to shower to get all that grease off you. She freaks out on me and proceeds to yell at me asking me when I'm going to do my job and make her happy and that she's been waiting since last night. This then explodes into me not being interested in her anymore, that I'm cheating on her. The way I approach things is wrong. I'm not making her feel desire. The list could go on and on. All of this because out of all the times I came over to her place within 6 months, this one time where I'm too exhausted to do it and or to do anything at all. I ended up just going home that night since I wasn't even bothered to argue over this. I understand the need to feel wanted and desired by your partner, but if you're going to freak out because one night I came over in 6 months and don't get intimate with you, and then accuse me of cheating on you, I'm not even going to entertain the conversation. The relationship ended quite quickly after that for other, pretty hilarious in my opinion, reasons. But I think I was already checking out at that point. Doing the deed with her after that just became more of a service I was providing for her rather than something I was actually wanting to do. The whole initiating it wrongly comment that she made bothered me. She basically wanted me to always be the one to initiate it. But on top of that, to initiate it as soon as I came over every single time. I'm talking about as soon as I get into her place, before my boots are even off, get her on the bed and proceed to do my duties. Which, all is good and fine, but to expect someone to be raging to go all the time was such a ridiculous standard and wasn't really equal in terms of how I felt or if I was in the mood. Not only that, it put all the pressure of initiating it onto me, and if I didn't, I knew she was just sitting there not thinking about anything else except that I wasn't currently getting it on with her.
Psst, guess what? Prescription to learn more.
Story 4. I had been working at a new bar for a couple of months, and one of the waitresses who had a rep for sleeping with new doormen gets hammered and can't drive home. I take her home, walk her into her house, put her on the couch, and put a blanket over her. As I'm leaning down putting the blanket over her, she grabs my shirt and tries pulling me down to kiss her. I tell her she's buzzed, so no thanks. And then she proceeds to tell everyone at work I'm gay for the next 6 months because I wouldn't take advantage of her while she was buzzed. Better than getting accused of taking advantage of her when she sobers up, that's for sure. Story 5. Short story, I got hit with a crowbar. Long story, she said okay, we walked back to my place. I guess she was still thinking it might happen there, not at hers. A loony came charging out of his house, screaming about us throwing snowballs at his door when we hadn't, and whacked me with a crowbar. She stopped him before he hit me again. I don't really remember how. And just then, the police he'd already called turned up. Got me to the hospital, 2 broken ribs, 1 cracked, 1 collapsed lung. My girlfriend did say when she visited me the next day, it was all my fault for not staying and having a blast with her. Story 6. In our 20s, my friends and I like to hit up this local dive bar. Drinks were poured strong and cheap, decent beer selection, and not crowded at all. Since it was a bit divey, we were usually the youngest by a generation. This one night, some old woman that was either experimenting with a wet hair look or was getting her wet every 10 minutes, not entirely sure, took a liking to me. After I refused her a few times, she says something like, "If you don't loosen up, you'll have your V-card forever." Shows her tatas as a look what you're missing, I guess. Stormed off. The bartender poured me a free one, so I got a beer out of it, at least. Story 7. In college, had a few trysts that ended badly. Decided to take it slow on the next one. Hung out with a girl one Saturday while we were both pretty buzzed. Made out of my bed. She started to get frisky and I said, "Not yet." She screamed at me. She said that I basically told her that she was hideous. She never talked to me again. Spread rumors that I was gay. Every time I would meet a new woman, she would meet with them privately and lie about me. Didn't really have much luck with ladies for the rest of college. Just noticed that the whole narrative is like, "No, I don't want to" is equal to you being gay. If it was the other way around, I'm pretty sure it would end with, "I'm calling the cops." Story 8. So I don't know what was up with this girl, but she wanted me so much. Probably more than was healthy. I turned her down on several occasions, and usually she accepted it with grace and composure. I never ended up doing it with her, and one day when I was propositioned by her, she just freaked out, and what went from a weird friendship turned into a full-out freak show. Her saying that I was leading her on this whole time, making her think I wanted to date her, keeping her out of the dating world, and basically just being an a-hole. I was later explained by one of our mutual friends that she apparently thought I was being nice to her because I liked her, and that I teamed with her online because I wanted to go on dates with her. Turned out she had this whole relationship fantasy about us that was never real, and I was oblivious to it the whole time. This is essentially a gender-reversed nice guy situation. Story 9. I was seeing a girl on and off, and she texted and wanted me to come over and then go grab a drink. I drove over to her apartment, and when she opened the door, she was falling over, buzzed. I went in and poured myself a drink and sat on the couch. She sat right beside me and put her hands all over me. She was slurring and talking super close. Her teeth were stained gray with a red wine. I was just really put off by it. I told her I didn't feel like doing it, and she blew up crying and got angry and mean, saying that men can never say no, and how can you do this to me? I calmed her down and told her I wanted to go home and just wasn't in the mood for this, or drinking in general. She asked me to take her to the bar, so I dropped her off. She was usually a pretty respectable person, so I didn't judge her harshly. Drinking can make people irrational and emotional. Jeez, I hope the bartender just handed her ice water with a lime. Also, if you don't want to end up like her, leave a like in this video and subscribe to the channel. Story 10. Anytime I have been propositioned by a woman who is buzzed or otherwise impaired, I have always turned them down. I know many guys rely on such tactics for it, but I've always been the opposite. Usually it's not a big deal. I've had a few of them scream and yell at me, berating or belittling me as if I was insane or gay or imagining any number of other issues I must have had, and turn down the privilege of having a good night with them. I will admit, some of those I did turn down rather reluctantly, as I would have loved to have it with them had they not been buzzed or otherwise impaired. I think that stands out from any of those, though. The one that does stand out, or refused while she was sober, was a girl I met online. We hit it off and spent weeks chatting online or on the phone. This was in the late 90s, by the way, so a vastly different culture of meeting people online. Anyway, when we finally met up, she looked nothing like she had described herself, or anything like her photos. The only thing that was the same was red hair. This wasn't a case of doctoring her own pictures or using old pictures of herself, but rather obviously she had used someone else's pictures and based her description on them. It wasn't just her looks. Though that was a huge issue for me. Not that she was actually ugly. She was on the okay or nice looking side of average. I'm a bit chubby for my tastes. But had she been upfront with her actual looks, it wouldn't have pushed me away. Several other things became apparent that there had been lies over the course of dinner as well. I was just getting all kinds of gut feelings that she was bad news. So while she was hinting in a hugely obvious way that we should skip a movie, the original plan for after dinner, and just go back to my place, I was busy covertly paging myself to go into work for an emergency. As she already knew I was on call, and I felt the best way to escape. Luckily, after I faked the page, I did go to work, because she ended up following me. I didn't know it at the time, and sitting in the parking lot watching me go in. I spent an hour or so playing games on my work PC and noticed her car and her as I was leaving. So rather than going home, I went to a sports bar and hung out for a while. She followed me there too, trying to be covert but failing. I ended up running into another woman and going home with her, and the stalker did not follow us. But she did stalk me for another month or so afterward. She had my phone number and license plate and knew where I worked. She never did anything directly, other than call and PM and email me a ton, which I ignored. Eventually, she gave up with no further craziness. I'm not sure that this story counts, since I did not directly decline it. I believe even if I had done it with her, it would have ended up similar, or worse. There's my story for you. Story 11. Went over to a girl's place and we were watching a movie when we started making out and we were almost about to do it. When I realized all the psychotic behavior she displayed in trying hard to not even meet me initially, I knew this would just end up being worse. So I said, "Nah, I'm good. This doesn't feel right," and left. A day later, she sends me a hate text calling me an a-hole and saying I was begging to meet and this is why I was single and would go through life doing nothing but playing video games. Yeah, okay, lady. You spent most of the time we spoke saying no to even a coffee date and now suddenly I'm at fault. Story 12. She swung at me. She missed, so I tried to close the door. She shoved her leg through. With the gap available between the frame and the door with her thigh there, she popped me in the face. I ripped the door open and, "This is Sparta!" pushed her into the wall across my door and slammed it shut. She called the cops. In another room, he recorded it all, unbeknownst to me, and gave the cops the footage. She had to leave and was handed a 30-day to evict. Several life lessons were learned that everyone should learn. Number one, just because I slept with you once doesn't mean I will again, especially when I felt like I had to check for a pulse halfway through. Number two, never sleep with your roommates. Never. Seriously. Number three, don't go swinging on someone regardless of gender and do not expect it to be reciprocated. Equal rights, equal rights. Story 13. I had got touched in places I wouldn't want in public after refusing to go home with a girl, as if I wasn't convinced before the unwanted advance will definitely change my mind. I had a girl crawl into my bed while she thought I was asleep. That'd be okay if it was my girlfriend, but it was someone I barely knew and refused to sleep with. Oh, the best one maybe was a girl who, after fooling around with a bit that I didn't want to sleep with, jokes, "If you don't want to have fun with me, then I might just have fun with you in your sleep." Yeah, I didn't sleep there. This isn't even every example, and I won't lie. It's one reason it's difficult for me to see the social movements against stuff like this almost always framed as men taking advantage of women when it's been the exact opposite for me. Still, I understand that anecdotes are just that, and I certainly think it's a minority of women. Maybe 10 to 15% have been aggressive, but it does give me pause and make me question some of the framing. Story 14. I feel like I've written this before more than once, so I'll close notes it. Went out with friends, a very open crowd. Went to the bedroom with a girl, and while making out, she says, "No." I stop. She starts stuff again and says no, and I move to do more. I stop. She pulls me back again. Things go further. She says no again. I get up, get dressed, and exit the room. She's upset. People ask, rightfully, what the heck happened. She tells them exactly what happens, and they got mad at me, saying, "That's just how she plays." She was into consensual, non-consensual play. I say something along the lines of, "What's a game to you? It's 5 to 10 for me, and a dreaded take to the grave." The women there questioned my sexuality and made fun of me for the remainder of the night. Dude, you dodged a bullet there. All of those laughing girls were bullets dodged. Story 15. Nothing particularly crazy, but I messed around with a pretty crazed girl for a few months in college. She initially responded with, "How are you not always thinking about and wanting it?" Explained refractory period, soreness of the whole male apparatus, and all that jazz. Whenever I tried to leave, she'd accost me and make my anatomy betray me until I gave in and would regret it for said soreness later. She texted me repeatedly to come over one day while I was playing tabletop war games with some friends, and I was like, I want this more. Never went to her place again after that. Got good at War Machine. Story 16. She went ballistic. We both had a fair bit to drink, but I still remember her reaction. There was a split second where she knew she was angry, but had to figure out exactly what she was angry about. I remember her saying, "Number one, just the fact that you assume I even want to sleep with you. Number two, you don't want to sleep with me." And as she said that, I think she kind of realized she'd let on that she was actually offended I didn't want to sleep with her, which I thought was kind of funny at the time, because number two basically negates number one, but maybe that was a bit a-hole of me. She also said I was the most arrogant person she'd ever met, which, to be fair, was true at the time. I was in a weird, manic, super arrogant phase. Genuinely, I was a bit mental. Anyway, she kicked me out of her apartment. Story 17. I have two. Number one, my wife has been declined a few times of late. I have an illness that plays havoc with my circulation. The medicine doesn't help either. Throughout our relationship, I've been declined time and time again. She doesn't have a high drive. The first few times I said no thanks to her, she was dumbfounded and offended. Her response was, "Well, what about when you don't want it?" She reacted the exact way I had done on occasion in the past, and it was amusing to see her understand how the rejection feels. Number two, I and a girl hit it off and met up a few times. Lots of kissing and fooling, but she was waiting for me to take it to the next step. I'm quite shy and have been accused of leading on before, so I explained to her that I wouldn't be initiating anything with her unless she expressly said to me that she wanted it. At the time, we were warming up. She never did. We never did it. Story 18. There was some drama queen that had a thing for me, kept showing up at my house at 2 a.m., buzzed and offering favors, etc. I just don't find her attractive on any level whatsoever, so I kept saying no. She started dragging my name through the dirt to anyone who would listen, told other women I couldn't hold it in, all that kind of stuff. It actually had the opposite effect though. Lots of women started talking to me. Turns out they all mistook my quietness for disinterest and assumed I had a girlfriend. I didn't at the time, but I do now. That crazy witch hates us both. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy... Girls, how did you react to the first thing you've seen? Story 4 was kind of funny. See you in that video.
Very good. Up my...
Oh my gosh, Morty. He's from Boston because he's wicked sick. I'm marking this in my journal. What's the date to remember? There was a monster kill. They killed all these people, Morty. They should start calling this person triple kill because they got a triple kill. Holy shit! Oh jeez! Oh jeez, Rick, this is getting out of hand!
Victory!
What's something about making love did you not know about until it happened? Story 1. What it feels like. That's it, really. I grew up with the internet. I've been watching seriously messed up stuff since I was young and over-researching everything so I didn't do it wrong and get embarrassed. I knew that certain girls were super sensitive, but the basic anatomy was studied pretty closely on thousands of online women of every shape, size, and color. I played classical guitar since I was 5. My fingers are extremely agile, so between all the reading, watching, and conciertos, I figured that pretending I was playing Recuerdos de la Alhambra for my girlfriend would work perfectly. And it did. She was so happy that I nearly drowned. First time we were fooling around was in a pool, and she had such a good time that she held me under the water while I squirmed trying to get out from under her and not drown, and the squirming just made her have more fun. Nothing prepared me for that. As you might be able to tell, I'm a super nerd, so I'd done quite a bit of research before I convinced a girl to get frisky at the age of 19, and frankly, it went quite well. We were both first-timers, both had a really good time. It took me about 10 minutes, which as far as first times go is pretty good. I did it posh before under hot water to train, and I remember looking at the clock before it began, and then staring at it when I was on my back catching my breath afterward. Some people would say I spoiled the mystery by depriving myself of inept teenage intimacy, but you know what? The first time I did it, I knew vaguely what to do. I was 100% safe and protected, and it was amazing. I think that more than makes up for ruining the mystery. 10 out of 10 would do again, and again, and again. Story 2. First serious girlfriend. After a month or two, I finally tried the accidental touch, which led to more. Alright, this is actually happening. So a week or two later, I go for more. Denied, but she rests my hand on the outside. Hey, I'll take it. Except I don't know what it is that I'm taking. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I just wanted to see how far I could go. So after a minute or two of my hand just chilling there, she takes my hand. Oh, I'm supposed to move. Okay, got it. After a few minutes of that, she gives me the signal. I have a fun time until she reaches down and moves my hand over the actual place it should have been. My hand was on her leg the whole time. I can't blame them. That place is like Narnia. Story 3. I knew but didn't know that the cat was inside the pelvis, so the first time I touched one, I was shocked that I was basically grabbing. That's same spot on me, so inaccessible that I just didn't put it all together until I was there.
And related, how far south it is. I kind of thought it was up front, like my little buddy. Even having seen a few growing up, I just never realized the actual location and logistics of the whole ordeal. And I'm still fascinated by them. I'm like a spelunker, studying every crevice. It is so awesome. I've spent hours of my life staring at them up close. Damn, I'm so not gay.